and welcome to Spark. I'm Joanne Murphy, and our guest today is one of the most brilliant, energetic people I know. Her name is Meredith Bodgas, and she's the editor-in-chief of Working Mother magazine and workingmother.com. Meredith, will you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me and for that very complimentary introduction. I am full of energy, that I can attest to. So I have been the editor-in-chief of Working Mother magazine and workingmother.com for the past 3 years. I'm a mom myself. I have 2 boys, Jeremy, who's 6 and just finished kindergarten, and Zachary, who's 2, who is in daycare sometimes, not recently, but usually. And I'm married to my working dad husband, Paul, and we have been together for 24 years. We are junior high school sweethearts, and that is probably the most interesting fact about me. And we live on Long Island, New York. We are both New York natives and have lived here our whole lives, except for 4 years when we went to college in the Boston area. And I've been a professional journalist for the past 15 years, and I've written for pretty much every women's magazine you could think of, but also NewYorkTimes.com, BusinessWeek.com, and a few publications like that.
How do you talk to kids about racism? When is the right age to start talking to them? And I'm sure it differs, right? Depending on how old they are.
So this might shock you, but starting to talk about race is important as young as 6 months old. And the reason for that is because babies can see the differences between people's skin colors, and they start making associations that young, associations with skin color that young. So they actually start preferring the race of their caregivers really young, a lot younger than we always thought. So the way you talk about it with a 6-month-old and continue to talk about it as they become toddlers is you show pictures of different people with different skin colors. Even better if you can diversify your own circles. Make sure that they're not seeing everyone in your social circle should not look like you. Because if that's all your child sees from a young age, when they go out into the world and suddenly see someone who doesn't look like them and their mom, they're going to be confused and they might even be scared. And that's the last thing we want. So here's an exercise I do with my 2-year-old, and I show him photos of different baby dolls. We just, check out Walmart.com, look at some pictures of baby dolls for sale with all different skin colors. And I say, I love you. And I point to the baby doll with brown skin. I love you. And I point to the baby doll with black skin. I love you. And I point to the baby doll who looks like she might be of Asian descent. I love you. And I point to the white baby doll. And then he copies me. And the message I hope I'm sending is that we love everybody, no matter what their skin color is. So that is one of the first conversations you can have with a child. And it really does matter that young. And then as they get older, start to ask them what they know. So with my 6-year-old, we have been talking a lot about white privilege lately because it's important for him to know that he's white, and even though he doesn't deserve special treatment just because of his skin color, he gets it. And it's really important for him to know that that's not fair and that people with darker skin don't get the benefit of the doubt. They don't get special treatment. And he is really aware of that. And now he knows when he does go back to school one day, which I hope is one day soon, that if he hears someone making assumptions about someone else because of their skin color or just being cruel, it's his job to say something and say, hey, that's not true. Why do you think that? To interrupt, to question, and to educate. It's on parents to teach our children, to empower our children to be able to do that. So I'm having these conversations with very young children, and then as they get older, ask them what they already know and ask them what questions they have, and make sure that it's a continuing conversation. It's not one time, okay, that's it, you're anti-racist now, my job is done. No, talk about who George Floyd was in very simple terms. He was a Black man who was arrested, and a police officer kneeled on his neck so long that he died. And it's not okay for anybody to do that to anybody else. What questions do you have about that? Now people are very angry and they're marching in the streets, even though we've been staying home to keep ourselves safe and to keep our friends and family safe. They are so angry that they are marching in the streets to let everyone know that what happened was not okay. And those, to just keep the language simple and age appropriate, continually ask them what questions they have and answer in age appropriate ways. And that's how they start to learn about systemic racism, injustice, and to appreciate that it's not fair.
I've been reading about parents who are getting shamed for taking their kids to daycare. Unpack that, please,
Sure.
Or help me understand what the deal is there.
Yeah. So first I'll start with, there is so much that experts don't know about this virus. And they are in the process of collecting data about transmission rates among children. In fact, today, Dr. Deborah Birx said that they don't know what the transmission rates are among children, if they are or are not more likely to spread it. They have guesses, but there is no hard and fast data. Because of that, people who are erring on the side of caution, which is absolutely their right. In fact, that's the choice my family made. We are keeping our children home, even though my 2-year-old's daycare is open. People who are erring on the side of caution are judging parents who are not, even though amongst my friends, I'm one of the only ones keeping my child out of daycare. Everybody else has returned their children to daycare, and they are so pleased with the decision because their mental health is better, their children's mental health is better. Children thrive on being in groups with other children, with constant stimulation. You know, my kids are watching a lot of TV these days, and I know that is not best for their development, but my husband and I made the decision that for us to feel safe and for us to feel good about their safety, we are keeping them home. But I've seen what it does to their mental health. It's not great. So this is a personal decision. And what I liken it to is, it's like the decision to be a working mom in the first place. Some families, it's not going to work for them. They want a parent at home. In other families, like my family, no, I need to work. I need to do what I set out to do and to share information with people who want it. That gives me such joy, and I don't think I would derive as much pleasure from being 100% full-time parent, doing that all day, every day. But every family is different, and that's what's happening now. Some families are choosing to send their children to daycare, and as long as your daycare is practicing safe measures, they're following CDC guidelines, then they are taking the precautions that the government is asking them to keep your children safe. But I'm hoping that we're going to get more information soon on how to make daycares even safer so that the parents who are making other parents feel bad for their decision will calm down.
August is breastfeeding month, right? So when it comes to breastfeeding, I mean, even though moms may be at home, I mean, what are the ins and outs about that? Breastfeeding on a Zoom call or a conference call? What yes or no, right?
It's legal. It's absolutely, it's what you feel comfortable with. I personally, when I was nursing my children, I probably would have turned off my video during a call if one of them got hungry, but that has consequences. If your manager is on a call and suddenly they can't see you, they might be making assumptions about what you're doing. And I completely understand why a mom would want to breastfeed during a video call. It's her right. And you know what? It's also her right. She doesn't even have to cover up if she doesn't want to. My kids hated nursing covers, hated them. Anytime I'd put it on them, they would just kick it off and scream. And it led to, for me, some personally embarrassing moments. But other moms are very comfortable, and all the power to them. So it does, being at home, yes, it makes it easier in some ways. But if you, like me, have Zoom calls all day long, it does complicate matters. So I would recommend having the conversation with the people that you are going to be on Zoom calls with, just being very matter of fact. I am a nursing mom. My child might get hungry during our call, and here's what I'm going to do. So if they have that heads up, at least it's not like, whoa, what's happening right now? They know it could happen. And the moms have every right to do whatever they feel comfortable with in that moment.
Oh, that's a really good way to put that. In fact, so pre-COVID, life and working and breastfeeding and pumping was so different. I'll share a quick story with you. We have an associate. Her name is Tennille Webb, and she was a new mom, traveling for work, as many of us do, and needed a place to find a place to pump, right? And the airport that she was in had what is called a Mamava modular in the airport, right? And it's a self-contained mobile pod with benches and a fold-down table and an electric outlet for plugging and a lock on the door for privacy. The cool thing about these things is you can adjust the temperature and the lighting and even the music. It's like, wow, I used to go in the car, right, at the grocery store parking lot. But anyway, really cool stuff. So she thought, oh man, this can be really good for our associates and for our customers. And so we tested them last year. So I have some great news to share with you and the audience. We're excited that this month we're going to be rolling out Mamava pods in 100 of our stores by the end of this year. And this will provide the associates and our customers with just another option if they choose to use it. Not that they need to, because as you had pointed out, they have every right to be breastfeeding in our stores. And our store managers are very supportive about moms who are trying to feed their babies, right? And so I'm really proud that we're like one of the first retailer to be able to do that in that setting. We just appreciate the energy and the passion that you have to help other women and moms and grandmas like me. So thank you so much, Meredith, the time goes by fast. Thanks to our audience for listening. It's been a wonderful chat to listen to. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn, Joanne Tabalea Murphy, for our latest Spark updates. Meredith, thanks for sharing your spark.
Thank you so much for having me.